Hey y'all. Lord. The trials and tribulations I went through to go live today. Let me tell y'all all about it. I see y'all already started up with the comments. Hi TT. Hi Kiva. Instead of lumping and bumping, we're gonna talk about it, TT. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. After how you started, George, you went to the lactation. I just had this conversation, professional or not. Don't know how to do a skill, no matter how many certificates. Well, yeah, I would say it doesn't matter what you say you trained in. Your skills are going to show. Skills are ultimate. I'm so sorry, and I was telling y'all I was coming. Okay, we're gonna get into it. I have to say they were not lumpy bumpy in the beginning, but they are now. Okay. We'll talk about it. Hi, Sakia. Hi, Nicole. All right, y'all. Let me see if I can do this eloquently. Nope. I thought, the volume is all up here. No wonder. Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. First of all, can I just show y'all this? Let me tell you about this hair. What's going on with this hair for a second. I tried something I saw the white girls doing. I did a little, I recorded it for another time, but I was like, ew, what did it do? But I was like, this does look like how the white girls be curling their hair, right? So I used this thing. And I did a little video that I'm going to show y'all. I kept it in for, oh my God, like the whole weekend. Because I was like, I don't know how it's going to work. But one of the reasons why I love locks this, like, well, I say micro locks for with no product, because it is so light. It just really does mimic like permed hair or straightened hair. It really does mimic it very well. So that's why when I talk about maintenance routine and all these different things and having them really to be a certain way, it just gives you so much more flexibility in how to style. Now, I don't know if y'all like it or not. I thought it was kind of cute. I thought it at first I didn't like it, but then I went to the bathroom and I came back and I think it made it look like my hair was fuller, and then it just looks like a wind tossed, tousled kind of thing. And it gave it a little bit of body. So I was like, I'm not mad at this little thing. It's called I don't have a heatless curler for long hair. I will show y'all a video on that later. It's just gonna be like a quick little thing because I'm fast forwarding it through. It took me a minute to figure out how to do it, but I like it. Okay, so that's what's going on. And so hi Deborah. I think y'all talking about your hair, your months, and I had so much loose hair. Okay, Caddy, I think you guys are talking about the quality of your hair. And I also had much loose. So what was happening? Okay, so as the title of this states, is that we're going to talk about some, and I want to ask y'all, did you DIY? Because we're going to talk about the common DIY mistakes that I want you to avoid if it is something that you're doing or on your radar or you're interested in doing, before they become critical. And it really is just advice, regardless if you're going to DIY or not, just technical skills. But I think there's a particular interest people have in DIYing for their own particular reasons. And I don't want to make sure that if it's something that you want to do, that you maximize it, you really get the quality you can get. There's really not a reason why people couldn't have really great hair if they desire to, with just the right amount of support, training, combination, information. But I know when I wanted to get small locks, as much as I had my side hustle hair business and I was all about hair since I was 8 years old, want to know how to braid, I really am going to be honest. I really am happy that I went to a professional to get this done and then maintained it myself all these years, because I think there's just such a learning curve and things that are just hard to do. But some people still can get great results and they still about it. And they're like, I still want to do this. So we're going to go into some things today. Okay. Before I go and start, y'all like, You can say hi. Let me know where you're from. Let me know you are engaged. You want this information, or you have information you want to contribute to this conversation. But take a moment to like if you're on if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Facebook as well. All right, and then when you do, just give me a thumbs up so I can start. Y'all, I really feel like a white lady. Let me show y'all something that's gonna be like, you're gonna be like, dang, Jessica, you just turned white. Like this damn cup was on sale. And I was like, what am I turning into? I got beach tousled hair. And no, but I'm very much a black woman. But I had this for a while. So I don't really jump on crazes, but yeah. I usually want to drink out of our Michael Lock Mastery water bottle, but I wanted to drink out of this today to complete my Karen look. I'm just playing. Right, Nicole? All right. So let's get into it. I'm gonna have a little fun with y'all today. It'll make me feel better. I wasn't feeling so good earlier. Excuse me. But I always like to kick it off with the question, like, how long have you had or do you plan to have your locks? Those who started it, because I know there's a lot of people that come to our program already started your DIY, had them in for a few years. Some people maybe want to. Some people have locks already, and they want to do more with it. So you got the thumbs up. Oh, it's a little delayed. So are y'all looking to have some temporary stuff? You just want a couple of months? You want to sit there for 2, 3, 4, 5 days for a couple of months? Drop a couple thousand, drop your rent money, your mortgage money, a month, a couple of weeks worth of work, just to keep it in for a couple months? Or you want to go for the long haul? Yeah, you want to keep it forever. Hi, Frida. DIY 4 years? Okay. I want to keep them forever and ever and ever and ever. Want to keep them, right? Most people do, because like I said before, I know this slide is tiny, so make it a little bit bigger, but it's basically, also it has a client who's had hers in for like 20 something. Well, she had them in at that point since she was a child. Maybe it was like 15 years. How can I make this bigger? So having small micro-sized locks is an investment. Okay, whether you spend money or not, right? Most people, it's an investment of money, but if you're DIYing, it may not be the same type of investment of money. But time, that's absolute given. Energy, whoever you're doing it yourself or someone else is doing it, and resources, energy for all involved, and resources, like what are you using to get this done? So I don't think that when people make this kind of investment that they are looking to that you just really have the money, time, energy, and resources to just kind of waste. I think most people want to maximize it. I know I would. This is a huge investment. It was a big investment of money for me at the time. Biggest investment I ever made in my own hair. Many people, this is the biggest investment they've ever made. And so a lot of people say, as long as I can keep them, and we have people that have had their locks, small, micro, sister, for decades, right? And I made 16 years myself, January 2nd. Ow, I moved a little wrong. So definitely, and it's a lifestyle, right? So let's keep it. Now, ask, like, how do you want to show up in the world when it comes to the quality? For me, I was like, as hard as this is to surrender, because I just thought I knew. I was a DIYer by character. If you are like that, let me know in the comments. I literally, since I was young, I was just telling April this last night, since I was 7 or 8, I self-taught myself how to cornrow. I wanted to know how to do everything. I did my little sister's hair. She's 8 years younger than me. So when I was 9 years old, she was 1. I was braiding up her little peasy. They have a little hair coming in. I was doing everyone's hair. So for me, I was like, and then when I got my hair cornrow, I watched what they did in the salon, and then I went and I would redo it or come home and recut it. When I got those synthetic burner ends, I made a ponytail, then I bent it, so I did everything the way I wanted it to look. So for me, I had to surrender to sit in a chair and have someone do my hair. And I actually thought, how can I do this? And I was like, I don't know. I then had to stop and think about why I was in that lady's consultation to begin with, because I saw the quality of work walking around. I told y'all my story about how I met my loctician. I don't know, but I wanted small locks. I had already been on sister lock consultations and I wasn't 100%. I'm gonna be honest. I wanted a certain level of refinement. I wanted, because I was already in my hair all the time. And I really said, these are so small. And the reason why I want them like this and this small is because I want to be able to style them and I want them to look neat. I don't like things looking too flawed. Well, not that at that time. So when I finally connected with her, I had to surrender if I wanted what I wanted. There wasn't any YouTube. There wasn't social media. Since 2007, I went on my consultations. By the time I got it done was 2008, January 1st and 2nd. So I say all that to say, I had a clear idea how I wanted the quality to be. Maybe I didn't know how to do it. Maybe I didn't know every little technical thing right then. But I knew that I had to go to work. I was becoming a social worker. I was just wanted to be a professional looking, and that's what I wanted. So I asked people that if that matters, and I want people to lock into your who you are. So if you're more free form, you're more like laid back, casual, cool. Find something that matches you, and make sure that you show up the way you want to show up. So not everything is for everybody. So maybe some people are like, I really don't care about it looking neat like yours, Jessica, or hers or his. I want mine to look like this. That's the first question I want people to ask. Because if you do want it neat and you start with some of these ways, it's most likely going to zap the potential. Like we can repair things, but when you actually start it off in a certain way, it gives it much more of a chance to be as optimal. So I need to be real. Okay, can I be real with y'all? Because I've been feeling much more comfortable. Let me make this bigger. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, I get so many compliments on my loop-de-loop 2-strand braid twist combination I made up in my kitchen. I get so many compliments. So many compliments, and that's fine. But I think they say it to say like, so that means that it's perfect, or that means that it's just I'm right on course. But compliments from others who are not a professional doesn't always mean it's the best quality that a person can receive. It may mean you're cute, you got style, your face, your pictures, your lighting, your makeup, all of that stuff is cute. But and that's fine, right? But I don't want people just to say, like, they use that in an argument, like with the pro, like, so I'm fine, because everybody compliments it. But some people have not seen great quality long-term results. A lot of people have seen installs and grids. I see people blowing up, and I've never seen a picture of their long-term work. I've only seen tons of installs. So sometimes people don't know that there could be a better quality long-term and a better process and an easier, smoother process. Some people, not everyone, just some. So, you better talk on it. Yeah. So what I do want to say, what really matters though, is like how you feel about your hair. It doesn't really matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what I say, but people tune in for information. If you're tuning in for a particular amount, you're here for a certain type of information. And I'm going to show up and give the type of information I can give that gives a certain kind of result. But ultimately, if you like your hair, that's all that matters. I always have to do that disclaimer, especially as a DIY. So DIY doesn't have to look like a cheaper or bootleg version. The DIYs can look flawless, like they sat in a professional. So I don't buy into the notion that just like some professionals might have this thing with, DIYs, they can't do it. No, there's some people that can do better than a professional. So we're not going to deny that. And I feel like just because if someone is going at it on their own, that doesn't mean that there's anything they have to take away from the product of that. But there are some things that people do commonly that does automatically take away from it. And I do want to talk on that today. And it's just a matter of knowledge and saying, am I really ready to do this the way that it should be done to get the result that I really want? Or am I trying to do it in the quickest, cheapest, easiest way possible? doesn't always align, because we have really refined, well done work. It's not always done in the simplest, easiest of ways. It has to be done in a certain way, which can make it easier for you down the line, but it may require something. So you can have a combination of both. Okay, so I like the little. I want that Santa Claus. I'll make that Santa Claus's face black though, because I don't want them two little orange things on the side. Right. So although I had a foundation laid, I've been DIYing my own self maintenance for over a decade, and so many of my clients, people in our program, and affiliates. You don't, and with postpartum hair loss, with COVID hair loss, with needing to retightening almost every time you see me, it's a way that the foundation is laid that results in minimal lock loss, maximum strength, and it could take you to a duration of a lot more trials and tribulations than if it was done on a weaker base. And if you like uniformity, if you like even consistency, then you're my audience, you're my people, and this is for you. I'm going to tell you how to get that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But there's a time I didn't think my hair was gorgeous. There's a time where I had still things growing in from damage and all types of things. She's she's another DIYer that she actually took the sister law class years ago. She no longer has her locks. This is the old picture, but she done some photos and landed up in a magazine publication for my business. But she was a DIYer that came to me occasionally. So she utilized professional support as needed, but she was doing her own hair for years. And also she had some shoulder surgery when she came to me. So she was like with me for a long period of time to go in. So I think sometimes we got to think about, are we open for, oh, I didn't get to the point yet. Good. Are we open for professional level support? And if so, can we make sure that we are truly getting professional level support? Because you should be able to learn easily from them. They should be able to explain it easy to you. And you should be able to have a clear way to pick up and do what you need to do, as opposed to like both of y'all trying to figure out how to troubleshoot. Like, you know what I mean? That's a testimony to the teacher, to the training, that those students can be able to get top quality results on their own. Okay, so the mistake number one, this is probably the biggest mistake, rushing into it without proper planning. Rushing in. I'm waking up one day, I just want to do it. I'm seeing enough, Instagram stuff or YouTube videos with a lot of following. I've seen enough grids. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And kind of just doing what maybe you see common or you see easier. But I've seen people rush in, and now, so they rushed in maybe last year or the year before, and now they're starting to be like, ooh. But once the fairy tale, the honeymoon phase wears off, because at first you're just excited because you're like, I'm going to get locks. It's something new and different, but that wears off and the reality sets in. And it's like, now you got to rush to get to work. You got a meeting, you got this, you got that. You don't have no money to have somebody fix. And now you're like, oh man, should I have thought this through? So if you just do some proper planning about the way you want it done, how you're going to do it, what support you have, then you know that you can have a better chance of having less problems and your life being smoother, because life is going to life and it's going to continue to life. It's been life and things just out of the blue, and you don't want to have to be trying to go back and fix something. So that's one of the first things I noticed. Y'all remember me with last week with this? I honestly feel like this was a rushed decision. This wasn't even a thoughtful decision by the business owner to say, when someone came to this business owner and said, hey, I don't want to sit in a chair for 90 minutes, longer than 90 minutes. I'm hot in these streets. I got to get out. I don't need to be sitting in a chair. And at the salon, the stylist was like, sure, let me give you some 2-strand twists, braids, some stuff going on, right? I feel like that wasn't thought out. And that's not even a DIY. I threw this in here because no, it's not just kept to DIY. There's people that are DIY turned you're pro. Put a like if y'all experience this. That DIY turns your pro all of a sudden, or maybe got some education or knowledge that's not really sufficient, or they think that so, and it's a shame. But we broke that down. Y'all could watch that video last week. But that's just an example of the putting in the foundation. We're going to get to that next. That has not produced the desired results properly. Okay, so people are rushing in. Throw this in here because this is what I wanted to tell y'all last week. Lockquiz.com. Go to that quiz I created to find out what locks are best for you, because sometimes we have a goal. Tell me what some of your goals are when you think of wanting locks or micro locks. Some people say in YouTube, hi YouTube land, a lot of y'all, not y'all, but I've gotten comments about a fluffy, big fluffy look. And every time I hear that, I wonder if they really want into, because I don't know how people connect the big puffy look pulling through a skinny base. If it would have been better, maybe for you to get a different type of locks. And so palm rolled or interwoven on a larger size, right? Interlocks. So this is a good quiz to kind of to figure that out, because there's so much that goes into it. It's not just about doing a great install. Now life is, it's like, what is your life consist of? How are you with maintenance? How are you with following a regimen? If there's people that are really resistant to some of the information that really has been proven to show good results, then maybe microlocks in this way are not for you or that person. And so there's a lot of professionals using this to even talk to their clients, because sometimes we see something and we're like, but what does it really take? Oh, it takes me sitting in a chair this long. Oh, it takes an investment of this amount of money. Oh, it takes this amount of attention to detail. Okay, maybe that's not what I want right now. Or maybe that is what I'm willing to do. You'll have a clearer answer, right? Okay, y'all have some questions. Yours was started with the 2-strand twist. Neat and uniform. You like thin, skinny locks with length, neat. Okay. And there'll be some people that say they don't like that. So then I say, well, if you want to go, I mean, let's be honest about really defining things as they were intended. Let's be really honest about proper knowledge and foundation of knowledge and terminology. And then maybe what you're looking for is not really defined in the same category that I'm talking about microlocks, so that there's not a lot of clashing. Because sometimes I think when it was people coming up with a definition for something that they didn't really start, where they created these things that came out of the category, and then they didn't match the installation methods. So that's why we're having these kind of conflicts now, years later, when in the beginning it wasn't this kind of conversations. It was, I want to try this because this is what you do in a larger lock community. So we're going to get to some pictures about some differences and why when people try to translate exactly what you do in a large traditional lock community, you try to translate it to the micro lock realm, it will not work properly. It won't work. It's like the wrong gas for the, car. It's gonna, you could get a fluke and get it to work. Some people have done that, but it's like, why play a gamble? Y'all gonna call me crazy because I got a crazy video I want to show y'all. I want to show y'all, but it's sideways. I can't get it to go up. All right. So I have this thing about preparing the hair that I have in my. So this is preparation that you need to do. Making a grid, all the steps of the process, planning it out. Some people don't even know about the post-install wash, why there is, and why, then there's misting versus why. There's so much more knowledge as opposed to just applying hair, because what's the purpose of that? I go in that in the course. There's a specific purpose to that wash, and it's not just to activate the curl. There's some other things that it does as well that really, really primes you on the lock journey. So if your foundation is not set up to be on a lock journey, but a braid or whatever, and it's going to go in a different type of way, you might create problems with that, because it's not the curl is not being coaxed into the proper foundation. We're going to get into that, right? So that years down the line, you have the seamless where you can go in root to tip and it should all just be seamless. That person, I love this person. There's people that have medical, a lot of things that could have them with no hair or really bad results. And she is a cancer survivor. And her hair, because the foundation was laid well, we were able to ride those waves of going through treatment and not lose any locks. those are the serious discussions about why I don't play when people play around and other people's, like pros playing people's hair, and then people go through life things and are like, well, this isn't, it's now worse than what it has to did it what it needed to be, so neat and uniform. Okay. So poor foundations, right? If we're playing a roll of dice, right, on a foundation method, or it's just something that's trending because the install photos, woo, they look good. I showed you that last video. Her braid job was mwah, but she was a braider. She wasn't a loctician. She showed me no evidence of being a loctician whatsoever. She had the most microscopic braids. That's what we've been doing in Africa. We've always been doing that in all various regions of Africa. And I went to East Africa personally, and I saw them as side twists and braids, but they never were used as a foundation to create locks on that size. And every reason why, the people could have left them in, but it wasn't. And actually, sometimes it could take your hair out too, because they were very, very tiny. So we're talking about a foundation that's proper for a micro lock. We're on a roll of dice. Because if we roll the dice, okay, y'all, I'm silly. This is what I'm gonna show y'all. Hold on. She said, "I wish I could have gotten my lock started before I started them chemo. Her hair looks up. It's okay, but listen. Sometimes, medical issues triumph over, no matter how good the skill is. If there is going to be hair loss, we talk about how we can prevent even doing an install where there is hair that's actually coming out as opposed to restoring itself. So maybe in that restorative phase, that'd be a different story. But I just wanted to say that sometimes you gotta make, when that's all done, you can get a really great solid foundation when you don't have to worry about your hair coming out. But that's what a good consultation and support will give you. But thank you. All right. So if you are not sure about your foundations, you're rolling the dice, you're going to have this lady come out and saying, don't laugh at me, y'all. It's sideways. Hold on. It's sideways. The unpredictable. That's the surprise you see. Surprise, surprise. It's really going to be a surprise. Like, you're really not going to know. Well, let me put my slideshow back up. What you're going to get. I tried to do that slick, but I couldn't because it's all sideways. But unpredictability is not what I want. I don't want that. I want to know that foundations are laid. I want to know that this size is going to get to this size because you know about my curl, you know about my density, you know about the textures, the varying textures through my hair, you know about all those different things. So yeah, this client has curly hair, but this foundation we did that took that into consideration, and we did the foundation really well. So as her hair curled in, it's going to create that cylinder barrel. She's aware that her hair isn't going to stay like this forever. She's been explained that, although it looks really cute and curly, right? She doesn't intentionally leave it out also, but some people do that. Be careful. So I pulled this picture off randomly, and although it could be okay now, right? I don't have any other backup picture to show, but what I can see, if you look at the edge, she had it very thin, and then the curl, she has her curl, and she left it out intentionally in the caption because she wants curly ends, which is a dangerous territory to get to when you are doing like I said, very tiny grid on interwoven method. So that if it's not done and no one does anything to those ends, they're going to lock at that size, and the base is going to be a little skinny, and it's not going to be curly forever. It's going to be matted. And she wants to do this whole detangling process that people are doing. That's when I stop and I have to say, y'all really want locks, or do y'all want loose hair? Straddling the fence is a slight touch of insanity. A little bit in this way for this way for this technique, because you're two opposing processes. One that requires silken, oil-based things to coat the strands, and another process that requires you not have those things so that it can lock and mat together. And you're going to be in this two opposing world until you get tired and one of them wins. The only time that I think that really could work is this is a palm roll traditional lock. This is less of a problem, but she is palm rolling. She is not pulling it. I can even tell when you zoom in that she has, it doesn't look like it's interlocked, it looks like it's palm roll. So yeah, she can knock herself out with those ends and leave those ends like that. I can see how that's cute. I can see she also has color treated hair, so you know it probably happened naturally and she went with it because she already has texturized hair from the color, and her virgin hair has been locking in tighter. So her hair probably didn't pull into the lock as the ends didn't pull in as much as the roots, and it kind of created a look. She probably just kept going with it and didn't do any refinement, but she didn't have to because she's not pulling it in through the same way. And when this kind of look with the curly ends, the faux locks, the boho locks, and all that came onto the scene a few years ago. Oh, had a hard conversation, but these are temporary styles. It also very much doesn't really match most textures of people who fall, yeah, like not every African American's hair is this loose of a curl. So this is a nice way to give a little bit of a look. But some people, if they have that curl and they're locking on a small round, I always said it's like opposite world here. It's like what was considered quote unquote good hair and bad hair. There's no such thing as bad hair. But the tighter curl, the tighter coil is actually really, really good for these size locks. Now, looser hair, the looser curl, can be a little bit more challenging in that it can take longer to lock. The curl is expanding out a bit more, so you got to make sure you are on it and make sure you're pulling hair in. So when it comes to the micro run, we cannot translate these styles exactly, not, especially when you have them so tiny, while a big loose puff, it just doesn't even make much sense. Yeah, I'm gonna play that surprise later. I got like 30 seconds. I got the whole song, I got the little hook and everything. And you listen to the words and match it so well. It's like it's a pleasant surprise. Like I wait and see. That'd be nice. A pleasant surprise is always nice. But I don't want to play roll the dice and is it gonna come out or is it gonna be what I know for certain? So lack of expert support or guidance is also where some people get mixed up. Please don't rely 100% on just what you see others journeys go through, because people have drastically different journeys. I know for a fact there are people also, they've come into our program, and I don't share anybody's photos or testimonies like that unless they give me permission. But there's a lot of people who have said they DIY'd, particularly the 2-strand twist. And they're like, problem after problem. It is with every cohort that we have now. We've had several, we have groups, cycles of people through the boot camps and the regular training. And it's always, every single time, 1 or 2 people at minimum that have said they started with 2-strand. One person's whole thing came out. They didn't know, they weren't getting enough support, but they saw that it was being done. So a lot of people are not going to tell you, if they got a lot of followers, they're going to feed the algorithm. They're going to show you what you need to, what you want to see, will show you those good pictures. Not going to really come out and say, hey, y'all, I'm thinking this might not be, like I'm having all these problems. It's going to, show you what it is, or you'll see the good. You won't necessarily see the problems, especially not from the professionals that want to keep booking clients. People get desperate and they're like, keep showing those good photos. Like, let's just keep getting this money in the door instead of starting the foundations really well. You don't have to be desperate or sneaky. You can actually show long-term results or have some knowledge base that helps people long-term. So lack of expert support or guidance, I wanted to say, it's like getting micro mastery support, get a nice little pretty thing, or, DIY non-expert advice or training. I'm sorry not to sound arrogant, but there's you gotta be careful what people are calling trainings. It's to the point where anybody can put a training out and say anything. I want y'all to look for receipts, longevity. Does that information really hit you into like, do you really feel that information is true? Has it helped you? Um, really go beyond flashes and numbers so that you can make an investment, whether it's just your energy, getting information, or your money or your time, and really have that return be really valuable and supportive for you. There's a lot of people saying a lot of things, and they gotta you can do that. You can open up a YouTube channel and say anything. If there's people that want to hear it, doesn't necessarily mean that that's coming from an expert. Now, expert with a YouTube channel is a different thing. Okay, so that's one of the things that I see people do. I had a comment on that I wanted to ask you. So I want to ask people, if you were able to get an expert, I put a poll up in the groups. Did y'all see the poll? Some of y'all answered the poll about if you were able to get expert one-on-one DIY support, would you take it? An installation, retightening, extensions, maintenance, and it was like reattachment. Right? Let me know in the comment if you would have liked some type of support along the way that was expert, that you felt good with. You didn't have to go and hope it's okay, or yes. Yeah, I would have too. If I was to do this as a DIY journey, I would have wanted somebody there. I probably still pay her to do it. But so improper maintenance technique or routines. Ooh, child. I've come to find over the past few years of even just being back out on video that a lot of people were looking for some consistency and maintenance information. Like, how do I maintain? What's my routine? What should I do this? When I wash it, should I do that? So there's some things that people could choose to do and it wouldn't really affect that much. And there's some things that would affect, could have a significant effect on the outcome of your results. Yes, y'all. Okay. I saw it's a delay. Great. Okay. So we're gonna get into that. So when it comes to so you could have a pretty decent install, DIY, professional, whatever, and completely sabotage the results with your maintenance routine. Do not underestimate. It's not like, I'm in the clear, got through my install, got through my whatever weeks. It has only begun, and it will only continue even years down the line. I told y'all the story about that client. We was wondering why. So we inherited, I said, me and my team member had it working with me. We inherited a client, and she had Alexa for years, but it never looked like it was growing. And we were doing the same repairs every session. She'd have a whole 4-hour retightening. We're like, her hair must grow really slow, but what are we retightening? What are we fixing? And we were sitting there boggled. I'm like, really? I was like, am I going crazy? Like, what? I couldn't figure it out. And then we started talking about her maintenance routine. I told y'all this story. Well, whoever followed me for a while, y'all heard this story. And we was like, what are you using? She's like, I use because my hair is just too dry and I need for it to be soft. I just can't deal with this. And so Wen is a conditioning shampoo process and system not designed for locks, period, but especially not for her soft hair and for her micro locks or sister locks. She started them as sister locks. Excuse me. And so what she was doing was slowly detangling out her lock each time. And what we were doing is putting in back the pattern and even though her hair was beyond a 4-year mark. I feel like it was maybe 6. It was years in. And that's what we did every single time. And so we were like, girl, we didn't know you were doing that. Okay. So we explained that. We said, can you please not use that product? We told her some recommendations. And then I said, please, we are not your. I think also she didn't full it, like, how you fall into the block world and you're like, okay, you embrace it. You're okay with not having, it takes a minute sometimes. Not having slicked edges all the time, not having like really shiny hair, not having your hair feel slick all the time. So she was still grappling with that. So sometimes people need that encouragement and that support to say, that's okay that you don't have it. Your hair's still healthy. These are the other type of products that you're going to be using, the other routine. And so we had that conversation. She came back and we did notice little by little that now her hair was like locking in tighter because it also looked like fluffier in some spots. It just wasn't as neat, but we let me be honest, we're kind of used to getting people in that we were always rehabbing and repairing, like from Sister Locks or other. And so it was like, but we were noticing that it wasn't tightening up and compacting and strengthening in the way that we thought it would because her routine kept undoing it. So make sure that you are well aware of the purpose. Here's just the main question to always ask yourself. What is the purpose of this routine or product? What is the purpose of it? Do I need it? That's it. The purpose of it is to whatever. Some people do all types of things. Some things are fine, but some things are like it really doesn't. It's just overload, overkill. We still gotta fully go into the mindset that we have our hair locked in this realm because even traditional locks have a different use of products. They use a lot more products. If you want your hair to be, I say light, that's one of the bonuses is that we'll feel our hair won't get as heavy with the same length when it's done in properly. It would just feel like your own hair, its own natural weight because we're not putting in product and using that to help weigh it down. So you could have really clean, lightweight locks that feel really nice on your head, or you could have ones embedded with product that are hard, and then it really does take away the less. They look dull because it's just embedded with stuff and they're catching on every color fiber is in your hair. We don't want that. So just the routine, the frequency, the tools. I think I do talk about tools. Damaging tools. Damaging tools. Oh, someone had asked me on YouTube. I screenshot your question for me. She had asked me a question. I told her tune in. I will answer it. She asked me, watching this video, a few questions. Jessica, what kind of locks do you have? Micro, sister, small, traditional. I didn't even do an intro. I assume y'all know me. How are your reties done? Tool, palm. She asking a whole lot of questions. If you use a tool, which tool do you recommend to prevent breaking hair at the root? Okay. Starting in the middle, I'm Jessica, founder, CEO of Naturally Beautiful Hair Care and Microlock Masters. I coined Microlocks out of Brooklyn, New York in 2009. 2009, started microlocks.com and a bunch of other sites, really going and branding my specific standards for microlocks. Okay, so what it was something that I felt was innovation that was needed from Sister Locks. I do not have Sister Locks because I didn't go with the sister loctician, and my loctician had been formally trained directly by Joanne Cornwell back in the 90s. She's one of her first student. Like my loctician goes back. She's no longer a loctician. She's no longer practicing. But the reasons why she formally wrote a letter to separate from the sister law company is because she wanted to use different tools. She didn't want to be bound by the products and the system and the grid parting they had at the time. And their grid parting at the time was not even inconsistent. A lot of things have changed. If y'all know, I was on a panel, had a long conversation with Joanne Cornwell in September in California. A lot of information. A lot of things I know, not everything I'm sharing, but things have been changed because they needed to be. Certain things needed to be. But I took the proactive thing way back then and said, hey, I'm going to call it microlocks. We're not going to use your tool. I'm not going to be signing your contracts. But I appreciate so much you laying this foundation and pioneering this whole way of small locks. Without sister locks, we wouldn't have none of this. Not in the way, so credit what credit's due. But also, I did not want a weak, flimsy lock. I did not want scraggly locks. I don't know why I said that in my head. Because I was fixing that. I was fixing and repairing. So I made a point to educate people about how to create foundations that were strong, how to prevent and address these issues of broken locks, the damaging tools. I never used a sister lock tool, never had a sister lock tool touch my head, thank goodness. I also had very weak hair myself. Like I feel like my hair was is considered fragile, and I think that I would have been on a different way with that. So I use a tool. I educate about certain categories of tools and why I feel certain tools are recommended over others. So everything is about the health and strength of your hair and your locks. We don't want to do things that have a higher potential of snagging your hair, of catching it, of being too hard to pull in, especially because there's a lot of people in the business are going fast. They want their clients pressure them, and they want to get the clients out the chair. And Speedy Gonzalez is ripping and tearing. And the biggest complaint people were saying is, oh my gosh, I didn't like that tool my loctician used. It hurt my head. It ripped my hair. I lost locks. And that to me is unacceptable. We should be helping, nurturing, cultivating, growing, um, and feeding, people's hair to its optimal. We shouldn't be damaging and tearing it. And if we identify that it's a problem, we should be able to go in and change it. That's why I couldn't be bound by a sister law company or anything that limits me to be able to say, no, this is not working. And so I actually made my own tool in 2013 that is a type in a type of category that I term that does not have those damaging things. People don't have to use it if they don't want to. They get it in you're in our program, but it's the only type of tool type. I also feel it has a tighter density on the lock, which in turn makes it stronger. So not only does it not damage during maintenance, it also makes it stronger if it's done properly with the proper skill. Okay, so there's tools when we get into this picture that I know I don't like, and April said it for me. So not all these tools are used the same way, but that left side neon pink and green tools, what we were referencing last Monday, me and April, and that's that ones with the loose moving parts. I don't have a sister lock tool on here because I'm not a sister loctician, to be quite honest. I seen a tool like once or twice. You sign a contract not to show it anyway, but the same kind of concept of a moving part catching hair and pulling through. I don't like that. I don't like that for small. I don't like that for people going fast, but there's people that have had success if they have skill. I'm not going to say, oh no, but I just know what I've seen work, and I've heard what I've seen people experience. So you want to, if you find out that the tools that you're using are damaging, then or painful unnecessarily. There's people that are just tender-headed and they're gonna find pain in anything. You go like this to pick up their lock. Who's had a tender-headed client like that? And you're like, all I did was pick up your lock. And pop an Advil, and it's like a whole symphony. They singing a whole song, and it's like, oh my gosh. But then you get the client that they don't feel anything. They got a scalp of steel. But that's like me. But ultimately, it doesn't matter tender-headed or not. I don't want people to feel unnecessary pain. Hey, Natural Shatara. Yes. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, so oh, Tony, random. About the DIYs, the DIYer, someone learning. So Tony, I did start Tony, but she also trained to know how to do her own hair. So I tell people you can get in on a DIY journey after. You don't have to always start right away. I want to ask y'all though, put in the comments, because I don't know if I hear enough of y'all tell me exactly why, if you want to DIY or if you DIY, why. Because I want to hear what your rationale for it is, and then what some other people have said their experiences have been. So Tony, she is one of my models, and she's been doing her own hair. So that's just for me to say, I would support DIY done well. I support DIY, who have really great skills. Like, I mean, I support anybody doing whatever they want with their hair. But when it comes to, here's the reason why I think some people feel like it can be a problem, is if the people are more frequently coming into like a professional salon and saying, hey, can you fix this, and it's a whole lot to fix. And so we would just say, well, if you're going to DIY it, let's make sure you have the right information and support so that you can be better helped and won't cost you that much. So for instance, cost and convenience, I see coming up. Yeah, Nicole, your daughter tender-headed. Mm-hmm. So cost and convenience is a big one. Excuse me. And maybe you want to share Sakia a little bit because you're 4 years in, so you got some time. And maybe you also probably have done, I don't know how you've done your installation, but maybe you've done it where you haven't had too many issues. I don't know. But I know that some people are finding out that it is just just costing them more in time to fix or to address it, or it's not saving them what they thought it would. If it comes a loose, or I know people that have had to spend time trying to braid or figure out what to do with the ends. Because they weren't going to cut it, or if they did cut it, you still have to do that properly too, because you can actually cut into a lock and unravel it too. It's a lot of things you need to know how to do. So it may not end up saving people money that they think they're saving, especially when there's a lot of fixing and repairing. Um, oh, I'm sorry, I neglect y'all on Instagram. By the way, I'm the only person that has pronounced your name correctly. Thank you. Welcome. All right, y'all. I'm gonna wind down soon. I want to show y'all a couple more things. Yeah, well, because I'm able to secure an appointment. Okay, that's that's some solid. No one does microcystocylia area. Okay. So how would you feel being able to actually know professional level support on how to do the whole full process, but also, so we are big people could train people all the time. There's a bunch of online stuff popping up. We've had an online program for a very what do you call it, COVID 2020, and supporting people who wanted to do DIY retightening, which was actually very effective. And it was like this kind of one-on-one support. But not everybody wants to do that all the time. They just maybe want to put a skill under their belt. So um I want y'all, if you want some professional level DIY support for installation, retightening, maintenance, extensions, with oil supplies included, I just want to get a sense of who would like that. If you want to get on our list, because we're about to um, tell y'all some things about how you can get that support. DIYmicrolocks.com. Let me know if you're having any trouble with that. But I'm the only person that said your name correctly. Natural Shitara. Oh, thank you. Um, because yeah, so like I was saying, I didn't have the energy. Although I was all in my own head when I started, I was like, I don't think I would be able to. I would have needed what I'm about to tell you about if I was going to do it myself and try to get anywhere near the quality that I got in my install. Um, but there's some people who are doing it really well. So okay, I was waiting for you to tell me your experience. It was very tedious at first because it kept unraveling. Once it matured, it looked great for a while. Then came the issue about 3 years in, and I didn't know how to fix it. So now, do I cut it or fix it? Oh, Takia, are you in the program? I think you're in the program. I feel like you are. I know you won some prizes. If you are, we're gonna go over that. And if you are in a program, then also you can do some one-on-one, and we can look at it. That's something that I want to let other people know. So I know that there's some people who want to save money, or who are not don't want to learn how to do the whole thing because they're not interested, or maybe not right now. Okay, she is. Yes, Akia. So Frida's one of the coaches that can help support you as well. You have a one-on-one. But for those who may be interested, so we have a new offering of we've already done retightening support, but I wanted to amp it up. So I wanted to be able to provide our team to provide you with support, give you your tools and supplies, give you one-on-one support. I've done this before when I was on my hiatus from YouTube, y'all, because I was going through it. So people were contacting me, and I did help people with their self installs. Me and you, it was me and them, and we walked through the whole entire process. We met weekly, and we met for a certain amount of time, and she went through. And now that I have this whole platform built up, is even more support that we have with coaches, and it's just far more support we can provide with the tools. I have the whole kits and everything. So yeah, you get that. You already get that because you're in the program. You can get that support. You can use it for yourself. And so, yeah, it's very possible. She did a great job. And so I'm putting that out there because I've done the poll. I've asked people who keep kind of getting these similar kind of support needs. And I said, well, I don't want people to, if you're tired of going out and trying to just fend for information, piecing together things, or some people like the quality information that me and our team shares with them. So you might say, hey, I would like, your support to help me, but I'm not trying to invest in the whole entire program. So we do have an offer. If you get on that, if go to DIYMicrolocks.com and get on there, you're gonna get all the information about how you can do that and have your one-on-one calls and get your hair done, because you put it in your belt of skills. And then if you desire to go further and actually get certification to do others, you can as well. So we do have this new offer that we're rolling out. I wanted to make sure that y'all knew about it. So, child, it's a lot. It's a lot. You get free consultation. When you get that, you're gonna get an email how you can set up your free consultation, and we will go ahead and make up your own plan, your individual plan, and get you going so that you can have the best that you want, and with proven methods and your own tools. And you can go ahead and like we'll give you the tools and supplies. You can get your own as well, but I don't want people to have to scramble if they don't want to, or you just want control over how to do your hair, but you also don't necessarily want to do the whole neighborhood's hair. Maybe for you, and so does that make sense? All right, so I had another video. Let me see what this video was. Oh, a wash. Oh, this was oh, I had turned it into it. I didn't add the audio from the YouTube. Okay, so it was just showing some hair wash maintenance, some things that we do after the process. Excuse me. And just understanding why we do what we do, why that wash, and what the whole purpose and how it's supposed to look. See, now that is an install after, properly ready to go, curls in. That's how it looks in that moment. Obviously it will evolve into something else, a version of a wash and curl. I don't know, I just randomly, I'm putting this on randomly, but it's so much, so much you can do. I don't I, what am I trying to show her? She also has a little thin. It's just different stages. She is the cancer survivor. She is another client, previous client. She also took the DIY. She's another client that had color treated ends. It's just made a little compilation of people who've learned how to do it themselves, or along the process early, what it's supposed to look like. It's a combination of some people that DIY. Yeah. Let me take that off. Yay. So y'all, as I wrap up, I want to show y'all what we don't want when we're doing something that could give us, your hair is transformative. And if you know how to do it and you could do it top notch and it could look fabulous and with certainty, you won't have this. You're going to like my little segue. You won't have this. Life is full of small surprises. Look your head, turn your head this way. Never-ending game. If nothing is impossible, but you believe your eyes. If the unexpected brings a smile, that's a big surprise, surprise, surprise. The unexpected hits you between the eyes. The unpredictable, that's the surprise you see. Okay, that's enough. Surprise, surprise. I promise I only did 30 seconds. Okay, I don't like those kind of surprises. But you want it to be good. And any more questions? How long does it take to retighten? 10 years. I cannot lie. I have a problem. I retighten in sections and it takes me forever. I have an afro. I've always had an afro in certain parts of my hair. So I have sat my behind down and done it a few times, because I'm going to need to do it, because I'm going to be going places. Excuse me. I'm burping now for what I'm going to be on a couple of panels. We're doing a lot with the business now. So I'm going to need to retighten my whole head, and I'm going to need to give myself about 2 weeks. It could take me a week if I diligently do a few hours. I also have a lot of new growth in certain areas that are harder for me to reach. But I've done my hair in 5 days, section by section, while working and doing other stuff. It does take a while. I really do prefer to sit in a chair of a really knowledgeable person. Here's also why it's good. I think to just go to a true professional occasionally, they can spot things you can't see. That if they are really knowledgeable on the evolution process of a lock, they can also do things to help prevent any further issue when it comes to gathering hair in or strengthening a certain part of your lock. I'm laser, I can see it when I'm behind someone's hair, but it doesn't necessarily mean I can see what's going on there behind my head. Um, and sometimes these things matter if there's like slight thinning, momentarily thinning. You know, our hair has different resting, growing phases, and we have hormones interfering, we have stress. So there could be moments where it could be weaker just for a moment. And then it gets back. We don't fully lose it, but now you don't really know, like, what's this weak spot? What's this skinny spot? And it's much easier when there's someone trained that can just get in there and do it. Also, grooming. If that's something that you decide to do, I separate grooming from retightening because it's more of a cosmetic thing. I don't need too much. My hair is very tightly coiled, but usually a little looser curled hair, you'll tend to find some things sometimes get a little frizzier. If you have the positioning and you can do it, but it's not as easy. It's much easier if you can get into someone's chair. So these are some things when it comes to your planning. You have somebody in the wings that you trust that'll be able to handle it. Is this truly something? I think, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think there's far more DIYers than people who really truly want to do it. Like you might have to do it because I've heard some of your responses, or you might think you have to do it because of finances. But I think that it just seemed like an explosion when YouTube came out, and people were not, and people had the ability to DIY their own sister locks, and they wouldn't even do like back before micro locks was birthed. It was, you know, sister locks and people who maybe were doing traditional locks or doing other types of locks. This easier to do bigger locks, it's easier to do certain things, but I think a lot of people would start with a pro and then maintain it because now you don't have that much to do. Can fluffy locks be fixed and transformed? They can be up to a point. It also depends. You can't make hair. You got to work with the hair that's there. So it also depends because if there's a lot of hair, is it skinnier at the base? You're trying to match that with the end of it. There's a possibility, but it still never can really be fully put down in some situations, packed in. That's the whole thing we're trying to do is compact the hair in. That was some of the rationale that I found to be faulty with like sister locks, with trying to do different patterns to get a different size, puffier lock, because what it was ended up doing was there was a lot more chance for inconsistency and a lot more space and looseness on a skinny lock. So there's theory that I don't want to get so technical, but that like all those different rotations would make the hair compact in at different rates ended up being really disastrous because, and then people would keep these rotations and they would go to people, can you keep my 6, 9, 12, 5,000, whatever rotation? And then you're like, but you're seeing like a roller coaster along the lock. It's just like, it never really works that way. But I feel like you can compact, if it's all consistently puffy, it can compact it down to a certain point. And so that's part of what we do in the refinement and the repair process. It's a few other things that need to be done well in order for it to be well, but that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You're inching your way down a whole entire hundreds of locks to compact it down. So you want to, or whatever section you're doing. Or DIY micro was Afro. So I was hesitant to say that the DIY extensions because I don't know if they're talking about the extensions. Same kind of issues that come up with just regular micro locks as comes up with the extension. It's just some things that just don't make sense. You have to understand how hair evolves. Now you're adding hair. Is it the proper hair type? Is it going to look seamless? People are doing like twists and thinking that's going to turn into a cylinder lock permanently. It's just going to be, it's not going, it's, you know, it doesn't magically transform. It has to have a process it's going to go through that you're nurturing it along a natural process or creating a finished look from the start. So DIY, Extensions, I mean, that's something that we're considering offering as well. That's on the list here of things that, but I would be very cautious of many things. When I even ask people why they want it done by a professional, my screening process is also why do they want it? Do they have can a foundation sustain it? It's a lot of work, and it doesn't look like it doesn't behave 100% like your own natural hair. Although it can look very similar, it's never going to be 100%. It's not going to be like your own well done 100%. So sometimes the worry about how long it's taking to mesh with your own hair, if it can at all 100%, the product usage, the careful you have, it's just a lot of different things that come up, doesn't make it worth it. But if you're doing it in some areas, yeah, but it's if it's a permanent style, it needs to be done so uber well. Absolutely can't shortchange certain areas because you're not taking it out. You're doing it for permanency. If that's what you're doing for. If you're doing it for temporary, then you can do whatever you want. You're gonna take it out. But there's just so many other things you have to understand, like people have to take into consideration. And so it's a lot of screening questions about why. And then if you're really gonna go forward with it and you want it to look real, you gotta make sure you're doing all these different you're doing so much. Not just so it looks real, that it behaves real and that it stays attached and then it can go through your maintenance routines. Because you don't want to get in the shower, you did all that work, and now why is it all coming out? Oh no. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of time. It's very tedious. Very, very tedious. All right, y'all. So I think let me see if there's something else I had here. No, that's it. I just don't want y'all to have that surprise of something that you don't want. And if there's any more questions, usually your questions come after I ask that. I'll see a delay. So that's why I'm pausing to see if there's any more questions about it. In summary, we can read real quick the main points that we talked about. The mistakes that people have been making, I'll just summarize them for y'all really quickly, is rushing into it without proper planning, all right? Go to lockquiz.com, see if this is really what you want, plan accordingly. If you want really neat and refined, plan accordingly for that. Y'all are my audience. My audience, I know my ideal audience are people who want neat, refined, strong, beautiful locks that can take them into decades, that have our head turning locks. Y'all want head turning locks, right? So what's the parting? What's the setup? And these are just students' photos on how they've prepped and planned. But this is what they're translating it to on a person or themselves. So what is the whole entire process? And know why you are doing it, because critical thinking might be necessary for you and your hair type. You might not, you've seen a DIY or someone do it that way, but that may not be necessary for you. There's a lot of things I don't say do that everyone always says they want to do when it comes to maintenance. And I'm like, actually, you don't have to do it at all. And a lot of my clients don't need to. If you choose to, but know why you're doing it, because it could be more problematic. So that's the first mistake. Then poor foundations. Building a house on a poor foundation, building a house on mud and sand, like it may look good for the moment, but then it's going to need it's not going to be strong enough to sustain. So we want to make sure foundations are going to give you that result that you want. Why do people do what they say they do? Again, go back to the lock quiz. You can use the twist and braids and other things in traditional size locks. It does not translate and never has properly on a micro size. Larger, perhaps, than you're getting into small, regular locks. We're talking about on a micro, these are tiny. And some people's are, I don't really say go tinier than necessarily tinier than mine. You don't have to. I don't really think that those are good either. But when you're on a small level like this, don't want to try to translate it exact, because it's not going to, it never has. So that's how I know also some information is amateur, because it's a realm within a realm that is a niche within a semi niche of locks. It doesn't translate. keep the foundation really strong and solid so that every single moment that passes is only making the lock better. Every moment of the curl pulling in, drawing in, every moment of it being exposed to the environment, every ounce of humidity in the air, everything is going to help support the process of that lock, not not take it off course. There's certain styles, again, like beautiful mini braid style, something, certain things where it's like every drop of moisture is gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's the potential of unraveling. It's when you want the foundation to be good, and within doing even an interwoven pattern is still things you need to know to do it well. That's why people sometimes have problems with sister locks or whatever that use the same interwoven pattern. There's something still that there's still skill level and knowledge that could be missing, because I've noticed that some people don't know a lot about repair or prevention in sister locks, but they know how to do it interwoven. So get all those things combined, need to be on the same page, and then it's just going to be beautiful evolving. Don't intentionally do things playing gamble, roll a dice, leaving hair out to go on its own path. I'm doing a whole presentation again, y'all. So I'm just re-emphasizing these points, because leaving that out and then doing the interlocking the roots really, tight and nice, and just leaving that out for curly ends. We can get curls and spirals and beautiful fullness in a million other ways besides playing around with this quality of this lock. Say I either want to be on a lot round or I want to be on a curly round. Like I want to figure out which side of the fence I'm straddling and fully fall into it so I can get the best results I deserve. Or you have traditional locks, it could do that naturally. You're not pulling it through the base. You have far more liberty to do what you want because you with the ends of your hair, because you're not concerned about taking that big end and squeezing it through the root. Right? Her hair may thin out for other. She has a very soft texture, so she may need to be careful in other ways for traditional lock maintenance. But imagine adding one to that. You want to hook that on and pull that through on top of all the other things. I definitely have seen people with her hair texture lose locks from trying to interlock with the hair out like that. This is just a faux style, lack of expert supported guidance. I don't take investments, whether I pay money or my time or energy, lightly. If I want something and I really want it and it's going to carry me through half or most of my life, had locks in for a large part of my life at this point. I don't want to spend this time. I wouldn't want to lay something with this much time I have with it and not its best, given its best chance. So you want to think about what kind of results and experience do you want to have. I'm so sorry to some people that have had not good experiences. If I talk like this is some of the energy is coming from people knowingly doing, like people not understanding how this hurts people to go through not having what they want or lumps or bumps if someone else has done it. So if you're doing it, I want you to give yourself the best chance too. All right. Improper maintenance techniques or routines. Again, if it's just about knowing something, could be just about learning a routine that's right for you. Not every routine is cookie cutter. Every maintenance routine. Technique is a technique. We still tweak a technique based on hair texture as well and other things. So I talk about that in some of my other lives, and sizing. All those things are really individualized to that person and what you give some information about what you like, and then as a pro we'll say, okay, based on that, this is within the realm of what we're doing. This is what we do. Not that picture we showed y'all with the 2-strand like that. It's not. But we would say, so your routine and in a consultation, the service policy agreement, right, that we do with clients, and their follow-up and their maintenance between those appointments are going to be specific to that individual. I have more liberties I could do with my 4C hair sooner than someone with a 3A or 4A. I had specific things that my hair was doing differently than someone else with a looser curl pattern. And so I could do something different and they could do something different. That is a really unique customized, and that really a lot of it comes from skill and knowledge about this process. So arm yourself with knowledge. And she has a different hair texture than me. Her sessions were longer in the beginning because her hair, if she had done Anything else would have been 4 times the volume and very puffy at the ends. It could have been very problematic because it was a very curly, thin, fine hair texture. Damaging tools. I showed that pink. If y'all please, y'all do what you want, but I would not use that pink hot pink line. I just wanted to put that picture to show y'all. Be careful of the tools that you use. Know why you're using it. Also know there is a different. I'll repeat back what I've heard people in the program who are seasoned locticians say. I never even knew that there was a difference in how the tool locked the hair until I took this training and then experienced it. And there's some things that you may not have known that you didn't know, or didn't even know I didn't know until experiencing it, and then using that information, seeing what I'm seeing, what the problems were, and saying, no, I'm not going to keep doing the same things that have the problem for that hair texture or for that thing. We're going to incorporate this, which is going to be less problematic. And that's where expert advice and support comes into play as well. All right, y'all. Summed it up. You can go to dadbymichaellocks.com if you would like to fill out the form. If you're interested in one-on-one DIY support, that gives you hair tools, supply kit. It is going to be priced at a lesser price point than we do the full program, but that's because you're not going to be in before, you're going to have this individualized one-on-one support if this is something that you desire. I do want to know that people want this before I launch it. And obviously the first few people will get, you're going to get a more focused experience possible. But let me just not say too much. Just fill that out and know that you're going to be in contact. You'll hear more about it if it's something that it will talk more about it down the line. But yeah, you keep your control, keep your hands in your hair, your love and energy in your own hair, but get some support that you respect and value. If you respect and value our platform and our experts and our coaches, we would love to help and support you. All right. I'm getting ready to go. Thank y'all for listening. And like I said, look for the little tutorial in this little thing here. It's what got me these white girl curls in my, what do you call these? Full body waves. And I like it. I think it's interesting. It feels light. My hair feels it feels nice. It feels light. A little messy tussle look. No questions? All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll see y'all again soon.